Welcome to the Hey Docs podcast with your host, Jill Allen. Today I am joined by two powerhouse guests, Beth Leach and Jeff Behan, who recently teamed up to launch Orthodontic Revolution, a new venture focused on helping orthodontists build brands that actually connect. Between the two of them, they've worked in a wide range of practices and bring fresh insights into what's working, what's not, and how doctors can show up more authentically in a crowded market. Let's get started. This episode was brought to you by Gray Finch. Hey docs, if you want to have a great business, the right practice management software is essential. But some can be slow, outdated, and lacking good support. That's why I recommend Gray Finch to all orthodontists. It's the fastest, most reliable, and most secure platform to grow your business and improve your efficiency. It's completely web-based, so you can run your entire practice anywhere and from any device with no servers, no downloads, or hidden fees. They even have the most helpful and responsive support team around. Right now, Gray Finch is giving a $500 discount to our listeners. Visit grayfinch.com/Jill Allen to learn more and see why it's one of the fastest growing providers in America. Hey docs, it's Jill. I am so excited to finally share something I've been working on behind the scenes. I partnered with the amazing team at OrthoFi to create a brand new event designed specifically for early stage orthodontic practices. It's called Start to Strength, and it's happening October 23rd through the 25th at the beautiful Gaylord Rockies Resort and Convention Center in Denver, Colorado. We'll be sharing some of my top strategies for building a solid foundation, scaling smart, and avoiding the costly mistakes I see too many practices make in their early years. We're intentionally keeping this event small with limited seats so it feels intimate, focused, and packed with real value. As a Hey Docs listener, you'll get $50 off your registration with the code HeyDocs. So click the registration link in the show notes to register now. All righty, guys. I am so excited to have Beth and Jeff on the show today. This has been an episode I've been definitely looking forward to. So thank you guys so much for being on Hey Docs today with me.
Hey, our pleasure.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah. Yes. I know we're going to have so much to get into today. And one of the things that I would like to do in the event, even though you guys are sages in our industry, everybody should know who you are. But in the event that somebody does not know who you are, would each of you mind taking just a moment and kind of talking a little bit about who you are, what you do, what led you into the orthodontic space, but most importantly, how your paths crossed and have come to work together?
I'm Beth Leach. I have been in orthodontic marketing for over 25 years. Let's just say that.
Practicing what we preach there, huh?
Right. No, I'm not older than that. I started in orthodontic marketing in the 90s with Practice Builder, which was the original marketing company for doctors. It was the only marketing company for doctors because before 1990, you couldn't even advertise. There was no marketing. I started with them, was managing director of all their magazines, and then started my own company and started working with doctors in the same fashion. They actually helped me start my own company, so that was great. And then I think it was about 2000 when Jeff and I met. So Align, I started doing marketing for Align and doing all of the doctor marketing materials and everything that had to do with helping the doctors market their practices with Align, I developed. And so Jeff and I met, I think it was around 2000, 2002 and Align basically just threw us in together and said, okay, Beth, you're doing the talking to the team members, and you're going to teach them how to market using Invisalign. And Jeff, you're going to do the doctor talk. And so Jeff and I, although we're competitors, we didn't know each other very well. And but we were on the road together 26 weeks a year. And it was like, throw people together. And it turned out he became my brother from another mother. He was fabulous. We had such a good time together. We have a very common thought process in how to market, not only orthodontists, but just how to market professionals in general. And we both have a huge history in marketing. So by the time we were with Align, we had such a commonality that we were able to work together well. We've known each other forever. And then, gosh, it was like right during the pandemic, we did all of these recordings for the O, and as you remember, it was a very crazy time. So we had Wild Wild West. We had a lot of people on those things, the president of the AAO, a lot of very prominent orthodontists, just trying to figure out like what are the things that we can do to help practices. And
we even had a U.S. congressman on the.
Yeah, we did. Tom Tillis.
Yeah.
I think he was a senator, but anyway.
Senator, you're right.
We were trying to help orthodontists. So I said, Jeff, gosh, we just do this so well together. This is crazy. We are both not spring chickens anymore. We should really combine our resources and work together because we have such a good philosophy. And although I love video, I am not the video person. He is the god in orthodontic video. I have been doing web and tech forever. And so we have our strengths and we know where those are. And so we are able to combine to form what I think is just a perfect union of different strengths within marketing. But really within orthodontic marketing, we know and have seen the best, the worst, and everything in between. So we can gauge what a client needs based on years of understanding where they are in the process.
Sure.
And
we don't always agree with each other, which actually I think is really valuable.
Yeah, we don't. But in many cases we do. But we've really seen some of the most incredible growth and also some of the most interesting ways to market practices that just come back up, and people don't learn from what others have tried in the past. So they keep doing it again, and then they lose a lot of money. And so it does help to have the experience and the experiences over the last 25 plus years. So lucky.
My version, obviously there are a lot of parallels there, but I often will say that Beth and I started out as frenemies because we really were always friends, but we were competitors.
Yeah.
And I like how she said it. Invisalign threw us in the pool together. I actually had an employee that lived next door to an orthodontist. It was the late 90s. Invisalign had just launched, and I hadn't worked with an orthodontist at that point as a client. We both she's got a really strong medical marketing background. Was really broad in consumer marketing, and I'm still really passionate about that and how to apply that to ortho. But the orthodontist that lived next to a member of my team, they were raking the leaves in the yard one day. And he said, "Hey, you handle doctor," was a LASIK practice. And my employee was like, "Yeah, that's right, we do." So they set up a meeting. Long story short, I asked him a bunch of pretty simple marketing questions for which he had no answer and absolutely not a clue. And now I know that's not surprising. At the time, I remember thinking, is this normal? Anyway, very much to my benefit, he bought 2 plane tickets, one for himself and one for me. And we flew to San Jose to meet with the founder of Align Technology. And we had already begun to do some video advertising. We call it that now. It was called television advertising in 1999 and 2000. Yep. I attended the first Invisalign Summit. There were no vendors actually invited to that. I attended it as a chairside assistant because it's the only way they could get me there. And I actually still have my CE certificate for that meeting, which is pretty hilarious. Yeah, I could have at least been a TC, but anyway, he reported the success that he'd had with me. And instead of just ending up with an orthodontist as a client, which I would still be eternally thankful for, because what an incredible profession to be a part of and a support to. But I ended up doing a lot of work with the line, and that's how Beth and I ended up meeting. Whatever that following year was, that's when they allowed both of us there as vendors, and we were on opposite sides of the room. Who are they? What are they doing? And we just naturally fell into that. I think Beth maybe didn't mention that around 2007, Ormco, having loved what we'd done for Align, ended up hiring us, and we did all of the direct-to-consumer marketing for the Damon system too. So that just put us in a heck of a lot of offices. Jill, we met in an Invisalign office when you were just getting started.
Yep.
And I remember we had a training at a Dave and Buster's.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We had a
Exactly.
training at a Dave and Buster's, and you were like quietly an expert in the room, and it was fun.
Yeah, that
Yep.
was it is so much fun to look back, and I love hearing your stories. Of course, I've known you guys for a while too, but I think it speaks to your passion, each of your passions in this industry, and really your expertise in having an understanding of what we need within our orthodontic practices and what we need to be doing to further where our practices are going. And I think it's just so interesting when we look back. We can all laugh a little bit, but you look back and you go, what we were doing early 2000s. Like I remember working in offices and thinking the biggest part of our budget was spent on how big of an ad we were going to take out in a yellow
in the yellow pages.
Yeah. Yes.
Or like
I did a billion of those.
Some of those like crazy different things. And then you think about where we are now and how things have come along, and even just the evolution of the technology. And what I love is that both of you have been a part of that. And when you think about where we are right now with the liners, and to think that the two of you were instrumental in moving that movement ahead, even just from an informational standpoint, from doctors to consumers. It's pretty exciting to be talking to you guys and be like, oh, they've been a part of a lot of this fun stuff. And so I think that is what excites me about, I know you guys have done multiple things together through the years. And so anytime I hear that you guys have got something new on the horizon, I'm always ears perked up a little bit.
Oh.
So I want to talk a little bit about the company that you guys have launched, Orthodontic Revolution, and just what that is, what you guys saw the need, why you thought we need to do this now.
I'll start, and then Beth will tell the truth after I start. I like to introduce Orthodontic Revolution this way. For those that know me, I have been accused of not having a left hemisphere in my brain. And Beth and I are both creatives. There's no doubt about it. And I want you to know I've had a scan, and I do, in fact, have both hemispheres, and they do both work. But what am I passionate about? I'm really passionate about all the creative side of things. And as marketing has evolved into being data-driven and being highly analytical, this guy appreciates all of that, understands the need for that, understands how to apply that. But I was never even very good at actually doing it, truth be told. And I think ultimately that's because it was complicated to me and it wasn't really creative. Using it creatively is amazing. Beth is like, so she's a badass programmer. She is visionary in terms of that. She will often contact me and say, what do you think this should look like? What should this do? And I can contribute all day in that regard. But then I'm just like, you do what you do.
Run with it.
Yeah, you go, girl. Absolutely. And she's just so good at it. And we were doing that for each other when we hadn't started Orthodontic Revolution. And so even that was a part of, I don't think a day went by where we didn't consult with one another. And very much to my credit, to my benefit rather, Beth was really the force behind, we really should do this officially together. So now, Beth, you can tell the rest of the story.
I think it's actually really accurate. Jeff is a brilliant creative, and you have to be a brilliant creative in this industry. You have to push the fold, right? And that is something that I value so much. I've worked with creative directors my entire career, from practice builders and to hiring my own. And And it's not something you can really teach. You either have it or you don't have it. And Jeff is a brilliant communicator and a brilliant creative in the way that he gets information and just gets stories from patients and
So fun.
allows those stories to be told so that others can connect and say, oh, I see myself in that story. I see myself or my child in that story of how that person went from a non-confident, as my daughter said, jacked up smile to this
One of my favorite
amazing
phrases. I love that.
product. I know my daughter, boy, she's a handful. But I think
What's that about the acorn in the tree? Sorry, but I just had to ask.
I know. She's way smarter than me, though. I come from a household of both of my parents were in tech. My father was a nuclear engineer. My mother was the third employee of IBM Research. I came from like all kinds of tech background. In building the things that I love to do, I love orthodontic marketing, but I also love building things that will help move the practices forward using technology. I'm very concerned about how we utilize technology within our practices, but I'm also believe that it can be such a benefit to our practices. And there's going to be even more as we develop more AI and as we connect the dots with technology and how it really makes everyday life easier. I think we're going to have such an interesting next 10 years.
Oh, I would agree with you.
Yeah. So in forming Orthodontic Revolution, it was looking at the things that I bring to the table are the tech and the KPIs and the systems that I think are really important to follow. I believe in SOPs. I believe in really making sure that we have continuous systems that work, but also in marketing, you need creativity. You need to draw people in, right? So I think we have the best of both worlds. We've got this amazing creative team and we've got the tech and the kind of background to be able to support the driving of actual return on investment, right?
Yeah.
None of us really knew how important video was going to be in the overall mix. And it's nice because I look really smart sometimes because it really is an important component. I'm just very fortunate that's the case. And yet, just having really good content doesn't get you over the mark at all. OR, as we like to call it, Orthodontic Revolution, really fills that gap.
So let's dive into what is it? What are you bringing to the table? Because this is what I think I'm excited to talk about for you guys and just get it out there as far as what gaps you're filling in that you have seen we've been falling short in our industry a little bit.
So I think one of the interesting things that's been going on over the last, let's say 15 years is a move towards everything can be done digitally. And everything can be done with online, just run some ads and you'll get patients in and they're going to be great.
But pay a lot of money for it. Sorry, that's
Oh,
my
yeah.
angst right there.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's talk about it. Average budget with some of these agencies, 10 grand a month. And let's also talk about where the real patients come from, real patients. And this is, I can tell you data from dental economics and from orthodontic economics. And I work with PCSO and CAO all the time. So I know exactly what the data is. 41% of patients come from doctor referrals. Doctor referrals still.
That's
so
huge. It's huge.
41%. And guess what? 37% comes from patient referrals. So when you're looking at a practice where 80% approximately is coming from referral marketing, and you're spending $10,000 a month on Google ads, and you're spending $100 a month in bringing cookies to your dental referrers, you've got a problem. So what Orthodontic Revolution can do is we have strategies for not only the doctor referral end, which I've got a ton, plus the patient referral end, which we've just built out a really cool system, to also, obviously, we've been doing web since the 90s, right? We've been putting together websites. We've been designing websites. We've integrated a bunch of chatbots. We've integrated new technology to be able to capitalize on what happens on the web. But we're putting it all together. We don't just focus on Google ads or Facebook ads. And a lot of these things, when you look at the actual numbers, they really don't produce. The patients who convert are those patients who come from one of two places. And so we have systems and protocols and training and applications that help your people within your office, whether that's your TC or assistants or even the doc, that move them along the path to actually building relationships, and relationships are what sell orthodontics. So that's what Orthodontic Revolution is about. It's about building those things, building all of that tech, all of the pieces that actually move a practice to driving traffic, to having the right kinds of people in the practice to be able to convert those patients into not only into patients, but into future referrers.
Into advocates for the practice. We all talk about it. And what Beth and I have been tackling is how do we turn that into something that not only works, but is also measurable and trackable. So, Jill, I've always had my favorite definition of marketing. And any idea we have, any idea we talk about with each other, anytime I'm working with a client, and someone has an idea, I always run it through this marketing filter, which is what can we do that makes it easy and desirable for the person to take whatever the action is we want them to take. So if we want to get more reviews, we start by asking the question, how do we make that easy for our patients? And how do we make it desirable? And the answers are sometimes complicated, but it's the right question. And so, and Beth will always be finding cool tech. And then together we find really cool ways to apply that to this profession that we so love.
So Referral Retriever is our new technology that we've built. And it's actually something that I built a portion of 2 years ago. But basically what it does is it makes it easy for patients to refer to other patients. Because you remember, Jill, in the early 2000s when you had a Share a Smile card, and you would give a Share a Smile card to the patient, and you'd say, if you have a friend, use this card and share a smile. Okay.
Yes.
That was the dumbest thing ever, but we all did it.
Yep.
Okay. So
it was a good idea.
It was a good idea at the time.
At the time.
At the time, it was what we had.
Basically didn't work.
But you know what it did do, Jeff? It did start the conversation. I talk to orthodontists every day. And the first question I ask is, when was the last time you asked a patient for a patient referral? And I just talked to one this morning. I think we used to do that.
Yeah.
Or at it's either we used to do that and we don't do it anymore, or at the end of treatment. You just spent 2.5 years with this person, or 2 years or whatever, and you're not even talking to them about referring another patient until the end.
Yeah. And I think what is so sad is we all know the importance of this, but it's one of those things that I love what you said there, Jeff, easy and desirable. And I think it has to be easy, not only for the patient, but also for the team too, right?
It does. Oh, 100%.
It has to be easy for everybody to do, or it's just not going to happen. There are so many other things that are going on in the office
100%.
Which I love, that has been your focus, is come at it from how do we make this easy from referral retriever.
Referral retriever.
So basically what it does, Jill, is it takes the way that we normally share information now, which is with our phones, and allows us to share basically a we call it a VCF, but it's a contact card. So like you would normally share a contact card with somebody else, right? You're sitting next to, I sat on the soccer field for too many years. and you're sitting next to a mom and they say, oh, who's your orthodontist? Oh, here, let me share my contact. It allows you to share that contact, and then we can track every single contact. And if it also gives them a link for a personal sharing link, so that allows them to share on Facebook moms groups and other things, so that we are able to track and help people to refer from day one. And we have scripting from the TC end, so that really from day one, you are talking to patients about referring every step of the way. Patient referrals drive traffic.
Yeah.
We've also built review, making it really easy for you to get patient reviews as well into the same app and platform. And with tappable NFC chips in simple silicone bracelets, for example, with the practice's logo on it, the chair side is working in your face the whole time you're there. And there's your bracelet. And we always talk about magic moments and listening for those when it comes to getting referrals and reviews. Yeah. And anytime a patient says, we love you guys, we love coming here, that's a magic moment. It's a perfect moment to ask for a review. It's a perfect moment to ask for a referral. And these wearables, as we're calling them, bracelets, you can put them in caps, you can put them in clothing. And as Beth mentioned in the tap cards, are all built into this same platform because they're all part of how we make it easy. In this case, really easy for the team. And it's a constant reminder because it's right there on their wrists.
It's
have
fun to say, like, this piece, and I know we talked about this was when it was in beta, and I'm so excited that you guys have got this to now where practices can start using this, because it really is what we need. Gone are the days we aren't even advocating for paper in an office. Why do we want to have these QR codes that we scan on a something or another, or these business cards that patients are carrying around, when if you've got some cool wearable or you've got this cool little technology, and oh my gosh, I can't imagine that the younger gen isn't going to pick up on that anyways, but where they can just contact, do some fun things that way. Gosh, I think you guys have really done a great job at, again, just looking at where we at in the market, and let's don't get stuck in the past and how do we just keep trying to reinvent the past. Let's move us forward with something as cool as a wearable technology that's going to allow you to very quickly share information. And I love the idea of magic moments, because that is that we're looking for those all the time in practices.
We like to structure our relationships with clients. We call it a marketing partnership because we know that it's really only successful when the team is engaged and when we are their partner and they are our partner. And when that happens, as my great grandmother would say, Katie, bar the door. I still don't know what that means, but but Beth, I'm sorry. I want Beth to tell you a story. You talked about the younger generation embracing this technology. I want you to tell her about Sam's wedding and what you're doing with the NFCs.
So my daughter's getting married, and she's doing this thing, which apparently a lot of kids are doing now. It's like the whole weekend. So you have a wedding at a specific venue, which is they're doing a summer camp. And
fun.
It's a summer camp in the sequoias. So it's like the redwoods. And so she's inviting all of her friends. Now, Sammy's a very smart kid, and a lot of her friends are very smart. And so they're all high tech. They all went to MIT together. They're all high tech people. So they're all coming into to the sequoias, and they're not going to have any technology. So she's actually banning technology at the wedding itself, at the ceremony. And there is no internet in this summer camp. I don't know what we can do for those like day and a half when they're just like waiting for the wedding. And I said, what would be fun is we could develop a scavenger hunt, and we could do a scavenger hunt with NFC chips. She goes, those are online. I said, no, I can program them so they're offline that actually read a message. And so when each kid taps on the NFC chip, which we've hidden kind of as clues around, it gives them something to do. And then it says, okay, now here's the next clue. So they have to record a song about Sammy and Quinn, or they have to, whatever it is. So they have to go to each station and do all these different things. And it's using their technology, but they're not online. And from what I'm hearing from a couple of her friends that I've talked to about it, they're like, "Oh my God, I don't have anybody doing this. Is so cool." So I think there technology is something that our that our 30-year-olds love and they find interesting, and it can also elicit them to actually go out and do something, right? So in using technology, we can get those kids to tell their story. We can get them to refer a friend. We can get them to do something that we want them to do in orthodontics just by using technology that they feel is cool.
Because it's engaging. It's because it's
Yes.
Right.
engaging. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And what I love is that this is still, I think we've got very similar views. For me, I've always preached for my last 19 years within my own business that we build our brand and our marketing around doctor referrals, community, internal, and then online social media, our presence there and where we're
Right.
living.
Yep.
And what I love about this is it is bringing us back to that core where we know, going back to the statistics that you said, Beth, no matter what, and I've heard it preached from big podiums that, referrals are dead.
They're
Nothing.
dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You're wasting your time and your money if you're going after that. And I think what I appreciate about what you guys are doing is that something that I have always believed, and I've seen it for 19 years worth of data working within my own all the practices that I've worked with over the years is absolutely 100%. And I'm going to say this to startups, you are playing the long game when you are getting in and building your dental referral resources. But when they work, when they are doing what they need to do, it is usually takes a good 2 to 3 years to build that solid group. But when it works, between that and patient referrals, those will be the foundation to your practice's success. All the rest of it will come and go. But
You're preaching our language. This is
pieces
exactly what we
are,
say.
yeah.
And now, a word from the sponsors who make this podcast possible. Hey docs, on this podcast, I talk about a lot of different ways you can set your practice apart. But here's one that might surprise you. Maybe you haven't thought about it before, but the equipment you use can make a big difference, not just for the patient experience, but for you and your team too. That's why I want to let you know about a new line of orthodontic equipment from ADEC. I visited their headquarters in Oregon earlier this year to take a sneak peek for myself, and I have to say, I was impressed. ADEC has manufactured award-winning dental equipment for 60 plus years, and they're bringing that same level of excellence to ortho. From comfortable, compact patient chairs to a versatile workstation and delivery to ergonomic dental stools, ADEC orthodontic equipment is designed for a smooth and easy workflow. Day after day, patient after patient, see the difference it can make for your practice. Click the link in our show notes to learn more about ADEC Orthodontic Solutions. Hey docs, let's talk about Smile Suite, because it's not just another scheduling system. It's a game changer in the world of new patient management. And as a proud Smile Suite partner, I've witnessed the incredible impact it has on practices of all sizes. Smile Suite means your new patient calls and web leads are expertly handled 7 days a week, even during nights and weekends. And they offer top-notch customizable presentation software and seamless post-consultation follow-up. It's like having a secret weapon for your practice's success. Curious? Dive into the revolution at GetSmileSuite.com. And don't forget to mention Hey Docs to unlock some extra goodies. Elevate your practice with Smile Suite, because every smile deserves a suite of excellence.
Yeah.
That's
So
good.
I want to switch gears just a little bit, and I want to move into AI a little bit, because you guys are I think, on the forefront of what is going on out there. And I'm just wondering if you guys can talk a little bit to what you're seeing in regard to AI and our marketing and how it should be playing a role in practices. If you guys want to speak to that just a little bit.
Yeah, so mine is more positional, really. And that is, if AI can help us make the patient experience better or less frustrating, that's something we definitely want to look at. And that's going to be different for different offices. For example, you work with a lot of startups. So you might have a team with a doctor and one other team member. AI really can help to field calls. It can instantly reply to messages so that people know that, oh, okay, they've got even if all it says is, we'll get back to you Monday. It's so much better than not getting back to someone.
Right. And ringing and ringing.
Yeah, absolutely. But then you've got giant offices too, that there are areas where it's frustrating to be their patient. And so really that's AI you don't think of it as marketing because I'm talking about existing patients. It's marketing. As we always tell every one of our clients, every member of your team is a member of your marketing team. And they're either helping or hurting.
Yeah.
So much
point.
marketing. Yeah. So much marketing magic happens in the clinic. But we know those people didn't sign up to be marketers when they decided to be chairside assistants. Anyway, so just positionally, I like to start there. And then I'll just throw in one more tidbit, and that is, I think it's amazing and fun to teach AI, for example, how to write like I write. And I'm fairly blown away by it. It never does it right, but it does it well. And then Beth takes that to a whole new level with avatars and all kinds of additional AI. So I am going to turn it over to the left brain over there.
So I think there is a fear among older practices specifically about AI and what AI is and what it isn't. The thing
Yeah, we
that
don't want that. We've heard that from clients. Oh, we don't want that.
we have heard, I'm never going to use AI.
Yep.
And I understand that. I think there's a fear amongst people who answer the phones. What's going to happen to my job?
Mm-hmm.
So what I would say is let's turn it on its head. What if you had somebody at the front who didn't have to answer phones, who could actually connect with patients when they walked in the door, who could actually deal with emergencies or bring a mom who's busy with little kids a coffee? Or
Mhm.
what if you had an actual concierge at the front instead of somebody who's talking to 3 different people, doesn't have time to answer questions? I've walked into practices and watched people not know how to fill in a screen and no one helped them because this is their first time. They didn't know how to sign in and no one was helping them because they were on the phones. Wouldn't it be great if we had AI answering the phone calls that it can answer, which is about 90% of them now, and then have the person at the front desk actually assisting with our current patients or new patients?
Yeah.
So I think AI can help there. Obviously, there are many uses. Local SEO, Google Business Profile optimization is an easy one. AI-driven content, AI-driven review responses, etc. Those are some things that are
They're
that are
brilliant.
happening now
Yeah.
that we use all the time. Social media and short form video. We're using AI for that. That's an easy one. It's happening right now. And in many cases, it's really good. The graphics can sometimes be wonky. If you've ever tried to get Canva to put braces on anybody, it's horrific.
It's actually quite entertaining.
I actually did an AIO presentation last year, and the braces were like in the guy's nose. It was insane. I'm like, oh my gosh, this
We
is
still
That's the
got
soft
some work
palate.
to do.
stupid. Yeah, it doesn't do braces on kids very well. But it can write content like crazy, right? It can look at like some of the things we're looking at now is website personalization. So if somebody and this is future, okay, it's not happening right now, but it is future, where somebody asks a question online, it can actually put out a page that talks specifically to that what that patient is looking for, or we can identify a person like, oh, this is a 40-year-old female with 2 kids. We're going to populate information that would help them buying a decision, right? So that's where AI is going to be really interesting. It's going to be able to do smart pop-ups and data that will pre-populate just for that particular person.
Yeah.
So
It's exciting I think, I know AI is just all over, to hear what you guys are saying. And I think most people are trying to integrate it a little bit. And I think any way that we can do it, what I try and just encourage my docs, and I do have our existing practices where the team is scared to use it, or
Oh
is it
yeah.
going to
right.
steal all my information or steal all my ideas? But even Jeff, what you said about even just starting with something simple like teaching it to help you write all of these email responses that we now have to deal with, or learning your tone and your cadence, and you're still going to have to make it you. Like what does that do for you in your day? And as to your point, Beth, I think a lot of team members worry, was this going to make my job obsolete? And I advocate, like you do, no, this is just going to make you have all the time to do the things that are really important about your job, and maybe allow a different source to maybe take care of these things. Not to say that new patient phone calls aren't important or all of those different things, but maybe being able to put it into hands that are maybe a little bit more equipped and more efficient,
Yeah.
I will say, so that we can really lean into that patient experience when
Right.
somebody is standing in front of us. And I think that's
And
where
we're
it's
still
tough.
going to need that
Yeah.
one-to-one connection. I will tell you something interesting. I'm just working on an emotion and sentiment tracking within AI phone calls, and how you can then tell AI to be able to understand the content, that's not only the content, but the emotion within a phone call, to be able to handle that phone call differently based on emotion and sentiment, and how to then, in ways that I think people aren't even very good at. So we're doing some programming with that right now, which I think will be very interesting as the time goes by, where it's able to understand where people, by the questions they're asking them or by the tone of voice, how people are feeling about something, and then changing the answers based on that. So there's
So cool.
there's so many things that are
Yeah.
going to be helpful to us as humans, but we still need humans. It's not going to get rid of people. What it is going to do is help us get there faster. And the thing I hear the most is, I don't want to sit on hold while some robot answers my questions. And I'm the one who always says, operator, operator. I hear that all the time. I'm the one who always says whatever. So I think,
Representative.
yeah, front desk, talk to a human.
Yeah.
But I think AI is going to make it so that the human interaction on that level is not going to be necessary. But once they come into that office, that's where we're going to see a huge difference between the practices that actually take advantage of AI and allow it to do what it does well, and then allow humans to have a connection that they build, and then they build that even better. Like, then they go and they are able to have more human connection.
Yeah.
And I think this is where people are afraid of AI, but I really think we're going to have more human connection based on this.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. So let's switch gears again. And I want to come all full circle back to marketing. And I'm curious to know what you guys have seen lately, where you're like the good, the bad, and the cringe-worthy. What is some things that you guys think, all right, we're second Q3 of 2025, we're looking forward here. What are things that you guys think orthodontic practices should understand or maybe be looking at for the future in regard to their branding and their marketing?
I'm going to tell a quick story. It's related to what we were just talking about, but boy, is it cringeworthy. Well, one of the things that's happening with the corporatization of the profession is there are more and more companies that have essentially a call center. Call centers are just notoriously difficult to run really well. Like it was a major thing in the call center world when people were allowed to put a picture of their own children in their cubicle. Ooh. So we work with a client that has a call center. And one of the things that we do is we actually have them taped so that we can listen to. I'll bet you do this too, Jill.
Yep.
So we can listen to some just randomly selected calls
Yep.
and provide some training and feedback around that. I'll bet you know what I'm thinking of right now already, Beth. So we get this one, and the woman, first of all, she FaceTimed, so there was video and not only audio into the call center, and the phone was like in her lap, and she was in the car. And she was explaining to the representative that she wasn't going to make it to her appointment because she'd just been in an accident. And the representative, who was using a screen, which they need to have protocols to follow, I get that. Kid you not, I just told you I've been in an accident. And the representative said, date of birth.
Oh, no.
Not even, oh my gosh, I'm so
Are you
sorry.
okay? Yeah.
Are you okay? Nothing. Date of birth.
So sometimes when we see how bad people can be, and I feel like the doctors never know really what's happening there. I think I'd rather talk to a robot. I know for sure ChatGPT would have said, oh my gosh, are you okay? It knows enough to do that. And I wish we could share the whole thing with you. It was terrible. That's cringeworthy. And I would just say, whether you have one person taking your calls or you're outsourcing to a service or you have a call center, you better be listening to those calls or have somebody looking out for you that's listening to those calls. Everyone has a bad day, all of us, but that's the welcome to your practice.
Yeah.
I know you know this, Jill, it's the least trained person in most practices. And in many cases, the most important person in terms of new patient acquisition, because it doesn't happen without them. I just had to share that one because the minute you said cringeworthy, that story came to
Comes to
mind.
mind. Yeah, comes to mind too.
But I'll say again, high level, what I see that drives me crazy. I love how collegial the profession is, and I love how social media has made it more connected. I think that's very good. But what Beth and I see in practices is we have a team member that knows how to use Instagram, or we've got a team member that's on TikTok. So we've put them in charge of our marketing. That is not an overstatement. That is essentially what happens. And what I see more than anything else is, in fact, if you go online today and look at socials, there are people just now today doing the do I recognize my staff member's voice sort of thing that was very popular. It's looky-loo, looky-loo. You want to differentiate yourself. You know that your marketing should do that for you.
Yeah.
And then you put people that are well-intentioned and might know how to use a platform. I mean, you're putting them in charge of your brand. And that's cringeworthy too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's really interesting to see how many people are going to Fiverr and having a brand, a logo done. Oh, it's on Fiverr. I only paid $50 for my logo. Wonderful. It looks like you paid $50 for your logo.
Yeah.
I'm honestly shocked at, I shouldn't be because I've lived through this profession for so long, but with the logos that are now coming out that doctors have that they think are good, and they're coming out from Fiverr and they're approving them and actually wanting to use them in their practices, and they are hideous. And the doctors think these are good things because they don't have any training in branding, and the person in wherever they hired them from doesn't have any training in branding. And, they're just sticking two symbols together and that's it. So
Yeah.
it, this is part of, I know people want inexpensive marketing. I know you want cost-effective marketing, but if you're building a brand that's going to last 30 years, do you really want to pay somebody in another country that doesn't even know what orthodontics is to build your brand?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I totally get it.
We see it a lot.
And we see it a lot. And if
And
you
it's
are the
worse.
one that's making that decision, you need somebody, even if you have somebody who is a VP of a marketing company, look at that. That's better than just deciding on your own, this is a good brand, and using somebody off of Fiverr and getting it done. I'd rather have you have some kind of input from somebody who actually understands marketing before you make that decision.
Here's the new rub on that. Now, a practice manager will go on to ChatGPT and ask it to write a brand standards manual. It can do that. What are you really asking? I can almost guarantee that the brand standards approach they're going to take is from the packaged goods world, from the grocery store, from packaged goods that are sitting on shelves in retail stores. That's a very different business model than orthodontics. We like to think of orthodontics as retail by appointment, meaning a lot of things that matter in retail do matter, logo being one of them. Consistency is important, but you're not in the packaged goods business, and it's not about who gets the brightest spot and the end cap in the grocery store. They don't even know that. They don't even know what to ask. So I see this actually as a bigger issue than Fiverr. There's one of the biggest shifts I've seen in the now 26 years, I think, that I've been focused on orthodontics is a shift from hiring experts and working with really, truly experts, although we're all employed because people still do that, but to a tendency to just want to ask their online network, how did you do this? Can I look at your floor plan? Yeah. And I love that. I love that collegial element, but I do think something's being lost when they don't actually get some expert help. So I'm always happy when the answers I see are based on someone who has gotten good advice.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's the exception and not the rule.
Yeah. And it is a tough time right now. I see it too. And it'll be interesting to see where we go with this because I just think I think it's a generational thing that
Yeah.
I'm seeing as well. And I think we've gone in an extreme and I think we'll level back out again.
Pendulum swing.
Yeah, is what I see. And we may be still on the outward swing of it on how much can we do on our own versus bringing experts back in. But I believe there will always be need for experts because I think at any given point, somebody, even if it meets the needs, and I'll advocate for some of my younger docs, sometimes that's just where they have to start at.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because of a budget or whatnot. That isn't where they will be in 3 years and in 5 years and in 8 years and in 10 years. And I think the biggest thing for anybody who's listening is I don't want you to hear from Beth and Jeff that, oh, you're doing it totally wrong. If that is what you are doing,
Yeah.
but there will come a point pretty quickly where you will have to level up. You will have to level up your brand. You'll have to level up your marketing. You'll have to level up your positioning points, or you will not grow and go the way you want your practice to do. And I think that really, if you can start in the beginning, just with having that expertise, do it. But it is money well spent and your budget affords, you should be earmarking part of your startup budget for marketing. But if you are past that point and you did it on your own, just know that probably at about 3 years in, you will have a better understanding of who you are, where you're going, what your culture is, what your vision is. And that's going to be another perfect opportunity for you to bring an expert in and be like, all right, now I've got a little money. I've got a little bit and I can run with it. So
I love that. And the other good news is really in orthodontic marketing, it is ultimately built on the personality of the practice. And doctors, some of you have giant personalities that are really fun to market. And some of you don't have that.
Yep.
And your team is still going to want you to emulate what they see online from the big personalities. You might have a hard time pulling that off. You might already be hearing this and thinking, yeah, that's me. That's okay. Even the way Beth and I came together, it's because we have different strengths, and you can get that on your team.
Yeah.
And it's pretty important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, guys, I know we could like just keep going, and which is why we'll have to just do another episode. Why not? But if somebody wants to connect with you guys, they totally connecting with what you're saying. They want to learn more about Orthodontic Revolution. What's going to be the best way that they can connect with you?
orthodonticrevolution.com, and there's a contact form, and there's actually a way that you can just make an appointment online with Calendly. And
Yep.
we will absolutely talk to you and give you tons of free advice. And we say a half an hour, and it almost never is a half an hour. If you're just starting out and really need help, Jeff and I are two of the most generous people in orthodontic marketing in the country. We've been doing this a really long time. And I can tell you one thing, we understand how small this market is and how important it is to help new upcoming orthodontists and team members to thrive. Because even if we just give you an hour worth of our time and then you go on and do it yourself, and 3 years later, you're going to come back to us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we 100% believe in giving back to this community that has been so generous to us.
Yeah. That's
So
great. Awesome. All right. You guys know how I like to finish this off. I like to finish it off with a little speed round. So how about I'll do question. Beth, you start off. Second question, Jeff, and we'll just make it that way. Sound good?
all right.
Sure.
All right. Here we go. Beth, what is one business trend you think more people should be paying attention to?
I would say AI technology with integration with NFCs and even QRs. I think that is the trend that people are missing, especially the NFC tech, and it is growing, and I think it's going to be huge.
Ah, love it. All right. Jeff, what is the most unexpected lesson you've learned in your career?
I have learned, and I always answer this question the same way. I'm known as something of a spin doctor because I'm a writer, and I am an optimist till the end of the day and then beyond. But whenever someone has a difficult situation with a patient, or when I have a difficult situation with a client, it does happen. I'm often asked, what do you say when? And I think the most important lesson I've learned is you tell the truth.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And you
good.
take your lumps, and you can lose a client, you can lose a patient, but you won't lose your soul, and you won't regret it. So anytime you find yourself, now, do you want to make the truth the best version? Sure. But you just tell the truth.
Yeah. Ah, I love that. All right, Beth, what is one industry challenge you think will shape the future of your work?
One industry challenge. Let's just think. I think that people doing it on their own and believing that they know what the best thing is a challenge for us. And I do think that it is great sometimes because I love seeing the creativity, and some people have it in spades.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. And they come out with stuff that I just am blown away by. And then I see what we saw in the 90s where Photoshop threw up over everything, and because people didn't know how to use the program. I love some of the animation creativity that's going on right now, and we're doing a ton of it. And at the same time, I know where this is going, and it's going to get cringy really fast because people just don't have a filter. And if you don't have a filter and you don't understand, what a dude thinks is funny, a mom will not think is funny at all and be completely turned off by it. And I've actually seen that already. So I think it's a challenge to hold back from, or at least put some decorum into what we're doing online and understanding our market. And I think that's going to be a challenge as more and more people have fun with some of the cool stuff we can do.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's great. All right. And to finish this off, Jeff, if you could give your younger self one piece of career advice, what would it be?
Meet Beth sooner. No.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, it is a pretty good answer. No, and it is related to my real answer, which is embrace the things that you're not good at. Don't try to be all things to all people, and make sure you have members in your orbit and on your team that are great at what you suck at.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. All right, guys, this has been an absolute pleasure. It's always a treat to have you guys on, some of my dear friends. So thank you so much for being on Hey Docs, and until next time. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much, Jill. We love you. It's great.
Thanks.